What's going on, guys? Real quick, before we get into this video, I want to do a little bit of unboxing action with you guys. And I'm hoping this is going to be a pretty awesome investment. So I've been wanting one of these for quite a while. I just never really, been in the market for it or realized how cheap they are. But this is a tripod, obviously, so I'm thinking this is going to be pretty awesome. All right, cool. So it's not as tall as I expected it to be. This thing's probably like 1.5 feet tall. Kind of expecting it to be a little bit taller than that, so that kind of sucks. I have since realized that it is not that short. I'm just dumb. I think it's 62 inches. It was advertised as 62 inches, which is like 5 foot and some change. Anyway, let's get to what all of us are here for. In today's video, I recently just had a driver rear brake line failure on this car. I'll show you guys real quick. I don't know how well you guys can see that. Yep, so there's the point of failure. It's only doing it on this one corner too, thankfully. And thankfully it's far enough in the wheel well that it's not ruining the paint on my wheels. Figured I'd put the camera away and get this thing up on jack stands real quick. And this is where we're at. There she is, that guy right there, that soft line. And I'm gonna be replacing all 4 of the hard lines on this car with some Filigree Racing Stainless Steel brake lines. So I was talking to Shane over there, and what he got me set up with is these year, make, and model specific brake lines. So basically what you do is you just hit him up and you let him know, hey, I got this year, make, and model and whatever. He has a program where he's able to go in and see the dimensions and what kind of angled fittings and stuff like that you guys are gonna need to pretty much make this a really quick, easy bolt-on installation. I gave him the okay to go ahead and choose what color he wanted, so sent him a picture of my car and he chose that he wanted the transparent red. I'll show you guys, got a little bit of red accents going on with the Recaro seats. The wheels have the raised red stickers on them as well. And yeah, just little red accents here and there. Before we get too far into this video, I'm gonna show you guys the tools that you're gonna need. Starting over here, first things first, you are gonna need a 1/2 inch drive torque wrench, 3/8 drive torque wrench, a electric ratchet or a ratchet of some sorts, 3/8 drive, 17mm wrench, 10mm wrench, some Nipex, paint pen, 12mm socket, 14mm socket, a rag, a bin to catch all your brake fluid, brake parts cleaner, .3 or .4 brake fluid, and then I have some specialty tools here that I'm able to use to bleed this brake system by myself. Now I will go into detail on how to use these here in a few minutes when I get to that, but yep, this is pretty much the basic rundown of what you guys are gonna need to complete this job. All right, we're gonna take our bin and set it up under the first orifice that we're about to pop off. Now that those are all installed and torqued down to spec, you want to check the lock-to-lock rotation, as in the left to right full lock Now I'm at the point where I'm gonna go ahead and start bleeding these brakes. There's, to my knowledge, about 3 different ways you can do this. You can do the gravity bleed, which I don't necessarily like doing personally. There's the traditional buddy system where you have a buddy press the brake pedal while you go around and bleed all 4 corners. There's this third system where you can use this air bleeder system, which is all air compressor based. Basically treats it as a Venturi effect. Yeah, pretty sweet. I'm gonna show you guys how to use this real quick. Okay, so this guy right here sits inside of the brake master cylinder reservoir like that. And what we do is we fill this up completely full of brake fluid, and then instead of having to top the reservoir off every so often, this just constantly bleeds down into the reservoir and tops it off for us. All right, so that's about halfway full now. For those of you who don't know, brake fluid is extremely corrosive. It will ruin paint jobs in minutes, so keep that in mind. Take this guy, flip it over like that, and then there's a little clamp, a little dial right here. If you wind that out far enough, it'll actually clamp it onto the master cylinder for you, so you don't gotta worry about it flopping around or anything. It's still not the most secure, but it is a lot better than it just chilling there on its own. And then if you look right here, there's a little valve. Just twist this valve and it'll start to fill up your master. And once it fills up to the point where the nipple is completely submerged in the brake fluid, it'll stop the fluid from filling up into the reservoir any further. The idea behind this tool is to hook it up to compressed air, like such. And then what you're gonna do at that point is you're gonna take this orifice and you're going to plug it over top of your brake bleeder on whichever corner of the car you're working on at that time. Then you're able to go ahead and crack the bolt loose, which I will demonstrate all of this, and pull this here trigger. And that creates a vacuum and suctions brake fluid down from the reservoir through this line. Also, keep in mind you want to start at the furthest corner away from the master cylinder. So that would be passenger rear, then driver rear, passenger front, then driver front, in that order. All right, I'm probably not going to be able to do a very long take here just because the air compressor is pretty small and kicks on a lot. But you're going to take your 10 mil, throw it over the bleeder valve, throw this over your bleeder valve, and you're going to crack it, and then pull this trigger. Well, that pretty much wraps up today's video. Pretty simple install, nothing crazy. Anyone, I feel like, can accomplish this kind of task. It's not too bad. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Not sure what the next content's gonna be, but get it figured out, and we'll see you in the next one.